everybody. Welcome to Chapter 17. Today we're going to talk a little bit about drawer construction again, and we're going to actually make a drawer today. So hopefully that's something that interests you. This bathroom vanity build has been really slow. I have to admit, shooting video of it all does add to the time that it takes. However, that's not the only thing that's happening here. People, if you think that this is the only thing I'm working on, then this would be painfully slow. But I have other things on the go, and actually we're really busy in here. So just one of the things, and I think I've mentioned it before, is the Hub City Turning Club out of Saskatoon has been hosting classes in my shop. They've hosted 3 now. Trent Watts, an amazing instructor, and has been the instructor at these classes. But apparently I'm the only shop around that has 10 lathes in the shop. So you don't have to have your own lathe to come out and take a class here. Now most do, but it's just convenient. I think what happened, well, I know what happened is Lee Valley in Saskatoon moved to a different building, and they don't have much room to accommodate these classes anymore. So the club was looking for a place to do it, and just asked me if I would consider hosting, and yeah, of course I will. So that's been a little bit busy. Last Saturday we had all the lathes running. All 10 of my lathes had somebody at them during the course of the day. So a big group. Trent did an awesome job as usual. So that was a good class. I'm also teaching my Tuesday afternoon class, which is also a lot of fun. But it takes, you got to sharpen everything, make sure everything's ready, make sure wood's ready, and all that stuff. So it does take some time. And in there, we've got some electrical done. Wilmer, my neighbor, the electrician, was over here last week, and we ran a couple of more plugs for drop cords. I'm going to show you the electrical in this shop a little bit more in depth in a video, so that, excuse me, so that you can kind of see what I've done, and maybe if you're building a shop or considering building a shop, you can maybe take an idea or two out of what I did, and maybe it helps you, or maybe it inspires you to think of something that you would do better or different, whatever. That is something that will be coming in the future. Also, I've been working on dust collection a little bit. Remember, I need to have dust collection to my thickness sander before I can finish this. That's another thing that's been a constant pain, like working in a shop that really isn't ready to do this yet. So we're doing kind of both at the same time, building vanity and building shop, and it's just a little slower, but there will be more coming on dust collection in the future. I think now I have all the parts I need to do it, at least to the first pod of tools, and I'll show you that. I do have another build going. It's I'm building a base, kind of a base cabinet for my my King oscillating spindle sander. Right now it's out for repair. The worm on it is not right, and it needs to be replaced. So hopefully I ordered the right one, and my repair guy will get on that as soon as I get parts to him, and then it'll have a nice stand to sit on. And if you want to follow that build, that I've been chronicling that on Instagram. So RLDR Custom Creations on Instagram as well. So, well, it hasn't all been work all the time. A friend of mine and member of the Saskatchewan Woodworkers Guild and the Hub City Turners, Mel Genge, comes up to me at the Tuesday Turning Club meeting and pulls me aside. He says, Glenn, I'm going to invite you to something. And of course, so I'm interested. So the old Hub City Turner group, there's an old and new group, and I'm not going to explain the difference. But the old Hub City Turner group, who I would consider includes the elite of Saskatchewan woodworkers. had a get-together. And they met at Sheldon Dingwall's shop in Saskatoon. And if you're not sure who Sheldon Dingwall is, go to your computer and look up Dingwall Designer Guitars. So Sheldon has an amazing shop, and it's just amazing. So anyway, Mel invited me to that get-together, and I've never been a part of that group, so I felt a little bit out of place, but I know Sheldon a little bit. I knew everybody there. Some I've talked to, some not so much, but all I could say is I walked around all evening with my jaw hanging down. To go through Sheldon's shop where they're building guitars, he's got a staff of about 25 now. What an experience. I was so blown away by, you can just see the way the shop is set up, that high quality work is going on there. Everything's thought through, everything works the way it should. It was amazing. So I got to chat with Sheldon a little bit about guitar building things, because that's something I'm also interested in, and eventually you will see some guitar builds on this channel, but I'm just not there yet. But anyway, I had an amazing evening. Thank you, Mel, for inviting me, and thank you, the old Hub City Turner group, for not kicking me out the door, because I wasn't really part of that group. But anyway, that was so much fun. But anyway, let's get on to the task at hand, and that's the drawer building. And I did a prototype, and so I come out here, a couple of days ago, thinking, okay, today I'm going to get the drawers done. I'm going to shoot a video about that. And away we go. We're going to get this week's video out of the way, and then we'll shoot another one on the weekend, and I've done my 2 a week. That didn't happen. So I get in here, and I played with this drawer a little. This is the drawer I built. And I worked with it, and the fit wasn't good on my box joints again. And I couldn't figure it out at first, and then I thought, well, okay, let's look at the miter gauge, because that miter gauge, I hadn't really set it for a long time. And I guess with adjusting and playing and stuff, it was 3 degrees out. So, oh my goodness. So, okay, I set that back, and then I basically started over setting the jig again. And I have it cutting. It's a lot tighter than what it was, but I can live with that. It's really quite nice. So I think we're good. I haven't cut a joint today yet. We're going to do that later, but so far so good. If I have to adjust it again, I'm not showing you that. I've shown you twice how to do that. Maybe one thing I should mention that I haven't mentioned in the other video or 2 that I've done on the subject, the whole idea of the anatomy of this joint. So you've got sockets and pins. I hope you can see that. Okay, the socket is non-adjustable. Remember, that's what your router bit is cutting. So in my case, this is going to be around 1/2 inch, depending on how you measure and where it cut and how it went through, anywhere from 0.498 to 0.502. So that's there. The pin is what you adjust. Now the pin is adjusted by moving the pin on your jig closer or farther away to the bit. So you're not changing this, you're changing this. But when you get a joint and it's not fitting properly, and let's say you're way out, I've seen students of mine be confused about which is how to change that. But remember, this one you can't change, this one you can. Okay? Just thought I'd point that out. Okay. Getting on to, I'm sorry, I just have to fit this together. It's got to be like that, and square. Okay, so on to the prototype. Okay, so yesterday I came in here, I cut all the box joints, put this drawer together, And then the fun began. I have never used these Blum undermount drawer slides before. I've never used an undermount drawer slide. So I started, they came with no instructions. And I found this sheet on the internet, and it's not for these slides. So, because they have a number of different part numbers with what essentially looks like the same slide. I found one of the downsides of this hardware is I found their instruction sheet confusing. I don't think it's necessarily badly written, but it lacks clarity. I think for me what would have helped, and I don't know, maybe it's a little thing, putting mm beside measurements that are millimeters. And I know that should be second nature, because when you see a 12 and then beside it it's a ½ inch, that's a conversion. It should be common. But I sometimes wasn't sure which was a measurement and which was a clearance, and I don't know. I found it, I don't think the information is like wrong, but the way they set it up and what's emphasized, and the English isn't always exactly, it almost looks like it's been translated from German or something. Like, it's not bad, but like I say, these instructions didn't just hit you when you looked at them. You had to go kind of into the weeds and look, okay, how come they didn't put a measurement there? They've got dimensioning lines there, but there's no measurement. Anyway, I'm sure if you talk to the person who made this sheet, they would say it makes perfect sense, and they'd explain it, and it would be wonderful. Personally, I found it a little frustrating. But, and I think if I would have had the sheet, the right sheet for the right slides, that would have maybe helped. So I had watched a couple of videos, thought I had a good handle on how to put this all together. But I found out as I got going, I didn't. So what I did is, I had read somewhere that you make the side of the drawer the length of the measurement of the slide. So I bought these as 20-inch slides, and according to this it says they don't make a 20-inch slide, but I don't know. I bought these as 20-inch slides, so I made a drawer that was 20 inches long. Okay, that sounded normal. I was used to that. When I started looking for the width, that's where it confused me a little bit, because it talks about how much to deduct depending on the thickness of your drawer sides. See, and I'm used to, like, for example, these side mount slides. These side mount slides, you build the drawer a set measurement narrower or smaller than the opening. That I was used to. This hole depends on the side of the slide you have, and then the slide that I had, it looks like on there that they shouldn't install on anything with less than a 5/8 thick drawer slide. So, and the metric doesn't bother me, because I've been trained in metric as well, and I live in a metric country theoretically. So that wasn't concerning to me, but I was looking for something that would tell me how much smaller than the opening my drawer needed to be. Another thing that they assume, which kind of got me a little bit, the drawing is very much that all they've done is made their drawer joint a butt joint like that. Well, you know what? I guess for production purposes, a butt joint maybe is satisfactory. I don't know, because I'll never use one. In my opinion, and this is just me, Drawer corners need to be at minimum a rabbet joint, but better yet, a box joint, and better yet, a dovetail. That's just the way I think. So I found it, okay, now I've got to figure out, okay, that's not going through. The thing I like about doing box joints is that the front piece is exactly as wide as you want the drawer, and the side pieces are exactly as long as you want the drawer. That's, to me, that's easy. So eventually, I came up with a little bit of a formula based on their calculations and figured things out. And I think what I figured out is that I needed the drawer to be 3/8 of an inch smaller. Well, I did that and I prototyped that, and I found 3/8 was a little tight. It would bind a little bit when I pull it out. So I cut an 1/8 inch off the pins and recut the pins, put the drawer back together, and now I am at a 1/2 inch less than the opening, and that seems to work really nice. But it would have been nice, excuse me, if that measurement would be in there. That's what I would prefer. But, you know, I think once a person gets used to these drawer slides, they won't be a problem. I have to admit here, this isn't necessarily a slide problem or an instruction problem. It's also a bit of a me problem too. But as I do more work with them, I will get to know them, and then I'll figure out what I need to do, and it'll be fine. This is a nice practice project for the set of kitchen cabinets I'm hoping to attempt next winter. So anyway, some of the instructions I thought could have been clearer. There's a couple of things though that I think you need to be aware of when you buy these undermount slides. So I went around pricing slides. In fact, I walked into our local lumber yard, and first of all, when they quoted me a price, that was just for this. But this is useless without this. So I found that somewhat frustrating, that there were two components priced separately. Okay, we get over that. Then I realized that there are differences in hardware. Like I looked at Lee Valley's website, and these Blum undermounts in Lee Valley, I think were somewhere around $80. And I paid for this and this, well, two of these, I think I paid about $55 at my local lumberyard. And then I got thinking, well, how can my local lumberyard be $30 a set cheaper than Lee Valley? Well, I learned that I have the cheaper ones of these. The really good ones have adjusters that allow you to make adjustments on the drawer front as well, which if I was doing inset faces would be a great thing to have. But I'm not going to take this stuff back. I'm going to use it and see how it works. So I found, I guess be aware when you're going and buying these slides that there are two pieces to one, and there are different models. You can get different levels of adjustment. There are different weight things that you can get, like how much weight they'll support. There's a whole bunch of different models of these you can get. So make sure you know what you're looking for and what you're pricing. I would prefer if this all came as a set. Why can't, for example, that come in a bag with a price on it? I would like that. Example. So these slides, I think they're going to be great. What I really like about these slides is you're going to see the nice joinery and the nice Baltic birch on the side of the drawer. That's what you're going to see. You're not going to see some ugly steel sliding contraption. So I think they really are going to be good. It's just a matter of understanding what you're buying, finding the right instructions for what you buy, and then following them, okay? So anyway, let's get back to the instructions because yeah. So this prototype, this poor beat up drawer that I have, I finally figured out, like I said, I figured out the width, and I'm a 1/2 inch less than the opening, which I think is going to work out really nice. I like that extra space you get from this drawer as well. Yes, well, see, I always built my drawers like this, so I'm not losing any space. But if you were one of those who butt joined this together and slapped a piece on the bottom and covered it with a little slide, first of all, shame on you. But second of all, you will have maybe lost a 1/2 inch on the bottom as far as storage goes. But this is the way I would normally build drawers anyway, so there's no loss here. But the length proved to be a challenge. And the reason the length proved to be a challenge for me was because of this right here. Here it says, and you probably couldn't see that on the camera, that was just for dramatic purposes. It said that this piece here should be 3 millimeters from the face of the cabinet. Perfect. I understand that completely. So I did everything. Okay, this is now several times, but I drilled the holes in the back like you're supposed to. I cut this 1 3/8 out like you're supposed to. I didn't want to be able to take the drawer apart, so I just pressed it together to keep things straight and tacked it with super glue just to hold it so I could test. And then I put these on. I think I used 5 by 5/8 or 6 by 5/8. I'm not sure, one of the two. And so I put everything together. I had my drawer 20 inches long. I temporarily screwed these in, and I put my drawer in, and it clicked into the back. I could hear it. Clicked into the front, and I went to pull it back and forth, and oh, the soft close worked good. And the drawer got to about here, and then it stopped. And I thought, oh my goodness, what now? So I looked and looked and looked, and then somewhere I came up with this, I think it was completely wrong hardware, but it suggested the drawer should be 3 inches shorter than what the slide was. So I cut the drawer off 3 inches. Oh, that didn't work, didn't help anything. So kind of frustrated, I went in for lunch, sat down at the TV and put on some YouTube about putting these slides in. And I came across a couple of videos, kind of scanned through them, didn't see anything that I thought would be relevant. So I forget whose video it was. And he does a good job of explaining. He was a little frustrated with the instructions as well, but figured out, made it work. And then, obviously, he has a more successful channel than I do because he was kind of panning the camera, or his camera person, and they kind of made a shot of the inside of the cabinet, and it was there for about a fraction of a second. Like if you blinked, you would have missed it. But then I saw the key to this. The front of this slide was mounted 3/4 of an inch back. Now, I don't know if it was exactly 3/4 of an inch because it happened so fast, but it sure looked like it to me. And I thought 3/4 of an inch here is about what I need. So I built this little jig, and it's going to go in here like this, and the slide, maybe I should do it on this side, and the slide is going to butt up to it like that, and then it's going to go in there, and I'm going to screw that slide on, and that's going to help. So I think that was the key that I was missing. So this drawer is, I don't know what I'll do with it. I may use these pieces up like these for fronts or whatever. I'll figure it out. But yeah, but I needed to learn, and an education is never cheap. one of the things about these slides that it says they should have is they should have a slot here. There should be an elongated hole here and back here. And I wish, sorry about the back to the camera there, I wish it had that, because that would allow you to do a little bit of a micro adjustment, which would be great. So I don't have those. I contemplated putting them on, but I think what I'm going to do instead is just use, I call these Wix bits, just use center finding bits to drill those holes, and I think that'll be fine. So I think I've got it all figured out. Would this prevent me from using these slides? No. I think they're just maybe passed off as a bit of a non-DIY slide and more designed for people who use them all the time. But the learning curve, like I say, if you'd have the right model number to search, find the right information, spend some time interpreting it instead of like I do, try to get through it as quickly as possible so I can get on to work, I think you're going to be fine. These are not intimidating slides to use. It just took me going through it once to figure it out, that's all. So, I think, yeah, and there are actually a couple things yet. There are a bunch of jigs that you can buy from Blum to install these. Like there's a jig to drill these holes here. I found these holes, hang on a second here, there we go. And there's my Wix bit. I found these holes really intuitive. There's nice kind of angle cuts in here, and you can line this up really nicely. So I just held this firmly in place and I didn't pre-drill anything. This birch, it's not going to split or come apart. So, but if you were working with natural wood and this is close to the edge, you might want to pre-drill those holes. That's probably a good idea. The other thing they have a jig for is this hole in the back, and I messed mine up because I made this drawer narrower, but I found that there again, just having, I believe it's a 6mm bit or 1/4 inch, I set a brad point. Nope, I don't have it in right now. I just took a brad point, a 1/4 inch brad point, wrapped a piece of tape around it so I knew how far in to go. And what I did is I just put a little piece of wood back here, propped the slide up a bit, and gently pushed the drawer against it, and that marked center. That marked where the pin goes. So, and they give good measurements for that too, but you could easily make a jig for that. You could make a jig for this if you wanted to. So you don't necessarily need to buy them. But that's kind of my experience with these slides in combination with the type of drawer I want to build. And I think that's important too. Had I relied on simple butt joinery, I probably wouldn't have had the interpretation issues that I had. But this is what I want to do, and I want to use this slide, so it's up to me to work out a way to make it work, and I think I have. So I am going to quit talking for a little bit right now, and I am going to start cutting a set of box joints for one drawer. And where did I put all my pieces? Here we go. So I'm going to cut the box joints in this, and then I'm going to cut the groove for the plywood. Oh, one other thing. I'm going to make a subtle change here. Okay. Ooh, that's not it. Oh, I know why. Yeah, that's a long story. Okay. I don't really know what value it is having this piece here. You need to cut 1 3/8 out of here so that this drawer So you want the drawer to be able, the guide to be able to slide through there, okay? Now, back in, oh shoot, I think this was done from the very early days of woodworking. Drawers were put together, the back was cut. Okay, there'd be the top of the base. Let's see if I can just roughly sketch that for you quickly. Okay, so that would be the top of the drawer bottom. So the back was cut off there. Then what would happen is the bottom would get slid in and then nailed in place. That's a very, very typical drawer style of construction from history, basically. I'm going to do that here. I don't see any value for this. And the reason I like doing it that way is because then I can finish this drawer. If I want to spray, I can spray. And there's no overspray on, because this is pre-finished birch plywood. And I just think it'll finish easier. You won't get the blowback when you're spraying, should I decide to spray this. And I just think it's better. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna cut the back off completely, and then I don't have to worry about this measurement at all. Because it isn't so tight that it holds things in. It's just to get rid of this material so that the slide can pass through. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna start to do that now. And don't worry, I'm not gonna cut all the box joints and make this video super long, but I'm probably gonna show you one corner and then one side and then maybe some final assembly. Okay? Okay, we'll reset the camera and we'll be back. All right, well, I've got you zoomed in nice and tight. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut one corner of box joints. So I'm gonna cut the sides and then we're gonna switch over and we're gonna cut the faces. One of the things that I did, I labeled the bottom. Here, can you see that? I labeled the bottom and which way is the inside. How I selected the inside is there's a little bit of tear out there that I think I can get rid of if I put it to the inside. So let's put this in. Oh, one other thing that I am doing here, I'm putting the sides are going to have the pin on the very bottom and then a socket. And I'm thinking what's going to happen with that is that's going to help me fill this in here because this has a socket on the bottom. And since I'm going to cut this off, I think from the side it'll just look a little better. Hopefully you saw that. And I think for the first cut or so, I'm going to go with 2 clamps. And I think we're going to go. So yeah, it's going to be a little louder. And we're going to cut some box joints. Yeah, just wait for the router bit to stop before you clean the deck off. There will be dust collection to here someday, but we're not quite there yet. The pin on my jig is really a snug 1/2 inch, so sometimes I have a little bit of trouble getting things off of there. But that seems to cut really nice and clean. I'm quite happy with that. Even the back side isn't bad. There was a little bit of tear out from cutting there that I didn't see, but that I can live with. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to do the other piece. Oh, one other thing I should point out. There's this crazy 1/2 pin at the top here. When I set this up, I had these drawer sides cut to this side, but I'm actually gonna cut them off there, run them through the table saw, because I don't like that 1/2 pin there. We'll get rid of that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in. Well, if I'm gonna do both of them at the same time, maybe I should do this too. Yeah, that front edge got a little bit small, so I dropped a little bit of brass onto it, fired up the oxyacetylene unit at school, and put some brass in there to build it up. And I guess I need to file it down a bit more. It's a little sticky. Okay, so that should cut my first socket right there. And we're gonna turn on the router and we're gonna do that. Okay, now I can get rid of this. Boy, that socket's a little sticky. Get rid of that. And then we're going to move this over. And we're going to cut this side. I think for the first one, I'm just going to put 2 clamps on it just to make sure it doesn't move. And here we go again. Okay, that's a little snug. Okay. And now we're just going to get it. Okay, and we'll sweep the carnage away again. Yeah, and that's the problem with excessive dust. I don't think it's causing a problem here, but sometimes your joinery can be affected by having dust and things. I'm just gonna boy, it's gonna be snug. You can see it. It's going to be snug, but it's going to go. I'm going to keep cutting. Okay. But you've seen this now a couple of times. So the next time I bring you back, you'll be at the dado head, and we'll be cutting the groove along the bottom. Okay? See you then. Okay. Kind of a compromising camera angle here. I want you to see what I'm doing, but I also wanted you to see my ugly face again. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the 1/4 inch groove in the bottom of the panel to accept the bottom, the drawer bottom, the 1/4 inch pre-finished birch panel. And what I did is I labeled the bottom, as I showed you in the other video, and I've got the blade set, everything's good, and we're just going to make a few cuts here. Who knows, I might make them all. Okay, here we go. Well, that didn't take too long. And yes, push sticks are a must, and safety glasses as well. Okay, so we're going to move over to the other table saw now and cut the bottom panel and cut the back off. Okay, we'll see you there. Okay, and we're at the table saw without the dado head in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of this pre-finished 1/4 inch birch plywood, and I'm going to cut it to width. I'm not going to cut it to length here. We're going to go over to the sliding compound to do that. But we're going to cut it to width first, and then we're going to do all the rest of the table saw work on the pieces. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure how big that bottom, how wide that bottom needs to be. Now, where is my pencil so I can show you? We basically have to be from about halfway on the pin to halfway on the pin. So in other words, if I measure from here to there, that's going to give me the right measurement. And that measurement just happens to be 9.5 inches. Okay, so let's set this aside. And I've got a little bit of clutter on there. That's not a good thing to have. But I don't think I'm compromising safety, because it would have to get over the fence to cause problems. So yeah, but it's not ideal. I mean, I can justify it all I want, but if you can have your shop surfaces clean, that's the best. Okay, so we're going to turn this on. You notice I always have push sticks in my hands. If you're halfway through a cut and you've got to pick up your push sticks, I sometimes worry about people, especially students, losing control of the piece because they're not focused on it. So if the push sticks are in your hands, they're ready to go. Anyway, that's my safety pointer for this section. Okay, here we go. Okay, and we're going to set this aside and set this aside. I really like that pre-finished birch. It's nice stuff. Okay, now what we're going to do, remember I said that we had this half pin on the top. I'm going to cut that half pin off now. So here's one of the instances where the guard is a little bit clumsy to work with when you want to eye something to the blade. And that is just a little bit clumsy, but, oh, I'm going to the wrong part here. What am I doing? My goodness. I cut those drawers off and they'd have been little, and I'd have wondered what in the world happened. There we go. That looks good. Give it a little bit more that way. Okay. All right. So that's what we're going to do. I am going to put the guard up or on for the cut. In my opinion, just a little bit more table saw safety. For me, I was taught that you should see the blade during the cut, but I really came to question that, because I think my focus should be on the fence to make sure things stay tight to the fence. Anyway, another little bit of throwing in table saw safety. Okay, here we go. Yes, sirree, I like that a lot better. Okay, let's get the chip out of there so we don't have something flying around. And I just threw that on the ground. Yes, you saw that. Okay, let's do it again. Okay, that's that. And here we go again. And one more. Okay, one more cut on here. Remember that I was going to, oh that's nice, that I was going to cut the bottom of the back off. Now I thought I had the back labeled here. Bottom, inside, bottom, inside. This one. This is the one. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, where did my pencil go? Okay, I want to cut this right here. Can I zoom in on that or come closer and see that? Right there. That way my plywood slides over there and I can attach it to the back. That way I don't need to do the cutout for the drawer slides. Okay, so let me set that up. Yeah, the guard is sometimes in the way when you're working with, measured to the blade like I'm doing here. But you know what? Learn to use your guard. Learn to use it. That's a part of being a woodworker, is learning to use your guard. So I know when I was young, my philosophy was, I don't need a stinking guard. Yeah, I do. Okay, let's make this last cut. Okay, I didn't pull my push stick back far enough. But waiting until the saw stops before you remove things is a great idea. So anyway, that's the table saw work done. So we're going to head over probably to the sliding compound next and make a cut. Although with 8 lathes in here, it's pretty buried, so I'm not sure if I'm going to show you digging that out and doing that. Who knows? We may come back to here. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, well, we're to assembly time. And off camera, I put one joint together. They're a little tighter than I'd like them to be, but I got my trusty assembly hammer out and it went together. It's tight, but I think it's going to be fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue up the next side here. This is the front, so right side, left side. And we gotta make sure we get the right way here. Yep, that's what's gonna happen. So I have to be fairly careful with the glue because I don't want a lot of squeeze out on this. I can't really sand it. So I need to be quite surgical with my glue. And it just takes a little bit of time to do this. But like I say, I don't want a lot of squeeze out. I'm gonna get some. It's unavoidable. Fortunately, I'm not staining these drawers. They're just getting clear finish. And if there is the odd little glue spot, which I'm hoping there isn't, but there might be, it won't be readily visible. Okay, usually I'm a glue to glue person, but not today. We're just gonna tap it together. This is a nice hammer, I like it. Princess Auto Special, I didn't pay much for it. Get rid of that extra glue. I think once I get this thing all together, I'm going to put a clamp or two on it. There we go. I can live with that. Normally I wouldn't glue a panel in, but I'm going to do a little bit. Just because this panel is pretty loose. And what can I say? I like glue. Hopefully I can get this in before the top drips. Hurry, 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 hurry hard, hurry hard. A little bit of curling slang there. I'm definitely not a curler, but it is kind of our national sport as well, so I'm going to slide this in. Oh, I forgot to put, I haven't got the back side in yet. That's good. Okay. Extra glue. Okay, and let's put the end in. This piece almost fooled me. I thought, oh no, what have I done wrong? I've got that half tab on top yet. No, I cut that off. Okay, that looks like it's going to fit nicely, so we just got to glue it up. I'm going to glue this one up on this one. Not that it's going to make much difference. I think, you know, glue is important, but on this joint, it's the wood that's kind of holding itself in place. And I think that's the key to having good joinery. You know, it acts as structural strength. And I like that. I just think if it's worth doing, it's worth doing to the best of your ability. Now, if you're just starting out and you're going to butt join and pocket hole it together, if that's where you are now, there's nothing wrong with that. The pocket hole jig has become joinery for a lot of the people on the internet that I see. Now I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back side here because that panel is going to run over this. And then we're going to take, I'm going to get that started. And tappy tap. To me, that's going in a little too hard. My pins are a scooch too wide. I like that word scooch, I don't know why. Okay, that's looking really good. I'm quite happy with that. Where did my tape measure go? Oh, there it is. Whew, whew. Okay, so 22 and 5/16. 22 and 3/8. Okay, that's it. Okay, now I'm just going to check a few of my final 10, 10 and a half, that should be perfect. It should be 20, yeah. I like it. Okay, we're going to put a couple of clamps on it just to hold it in position. When it dries, push the joinery together if it comes apart a little bit. Squeeze out there. I think what I'm going to do is just lightly sand these by hand. And I'm not going to deal with any of the squeeze out on the front because that's going to get covered. Mind you, I could sand it out, it wouldn't matter. But I think a guy has to be really careful with this because the veneer is really thin on this. Now, I picked up another sheet of this Baltic birch yesterday when I was in Saskatoon, and I didn't even really look at it before. I just kind of went to the desk and ordered it, didn't ask for the price or anything, and oh, it was expensive. Like, I'm sure it was way more than what I paid for the first sheet. So I'm hoping maybe it's better quality. Okay, so let's pull that in nice. I wouldn't need all these clamps, but if you got them, you may as well use them, eh? That's going to be a nice drawer for inside. Oh, that corner's a little out. Oh, we'll sand that off. That we'll sand off. Okay, and one more at the very bottom. And I need to, I need to flip this over yet and nail that bottom on the back. Can't forget that. Yeah, it's like quadrupled in weight. That's perfect. Perfect. Are we still square? No, we're not. It came a little bit out of square. Well, okay, hang on a second. I maybe just... Yeah, we are just a wee bit out of square now. Or are we? Yeah, we are. We are a bit out of square. It doesn't look like it. I'm just going to take this off. Okay, how come? Oh, that's why. And this off. And extend that. Yep, that's it right there. Okay, we're going to leave it like that, and then we're going to get my rigid nailer, and we're going to pop three in the back here. And I think we got a drawer done. Cover the glue. I don't know how long, these clamps wouldn't have to be on very long, but just gonna take this off. And, oh shoot, you know what? I shouldn't have nailed the back on. I shouldn't have glued it yet. Oh well, now you saw the whole process. On the other drawers, I'm not going to put the bottom in finally right away so that I can take it out to finish the sides and edges. So, well, hey, we got a drawer done this afternoon, basically. This video is probably a little longer than I had wanted it to go, but that's the way it is. What I would encourage you to do, I know that when I'm shooting this video, this shop is full. It's, like I said many times, not really ready for me to be doing things in it yet. But if you wait for things to be perfect before you start, if I would have wanted to get dust collection in and all the electrical changes made that I wanted, and a cabinet for everything and lumber storage proper, I would have started this YouTube channel 2 years from now. But my words of wisdom to you, if you're starting, just make sure that your work area is clean enough to be safe. That's what is important here. Is it perfect? I would say that 90% of shops are not. I toured one yesterday evening. It was pretty good, really good actually, but there's still little things that they'd like to change and do differently. That is a part of a shop. A shop isn't now you have it and it's done. It's a process of evolution. And I'm just lucky now I'm retired and I have time to work on this shop and other things in the shop all the time. So that brings our drawer build video to an end. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like content like this because it seems to me you're going to get it whether you like it or not. I guess all I'd ask is, like I've said before, my goal is to shoot a video a week. It's a lot of work. It's why this bathroom vanity, instead of sitting in my house in a finished bathroom, is still sitting out here, a third done. So if you would like and subscribe, that would really help. It would make me feel that the time I'm spending shooting the video isn't wasted. And hopefully you learned something from this. When I install these drawers, I'm going to talk, the drawers, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Blum hardware, show you how it goes in and how it works. But I kind of covered half of that today. So this was kind of 1.5 videos in one video. So anyway, remember, you can help me out by liking and subscribing. Tell others about this channel, share it with others. All those good things that help me get to, well, the first goal is 100 subscribers. And I'm not sure what we're going to do yet. I'm not good at looking things up on YouTube or about YouTube, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to find my 100 subscriber. But maybe when we do it 100, if I can get a subscriber list, I'll maybe just put all the names on a piece of paper and in front of the camera make a draw, and I'll find a way to send you one of those little bowls that I turned. So yeah, remember, like and subscribe, share, and hopefully you'll be willing to come along on the next video. Thanks a lot. Have a great week.